It's the Jack Murphy podcast, available wherever you get podcasts, as long as that's YouTube and Spotify right now. We're still working on Apple Plus and iHeart, but we're not there yet, but we will get there, I promise you. And, of course, John Garrett joins me from beautiful Montgomery, Alabama. Good morning, John.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yes, I am in Alabama.
So there is nothing more dangerous in this world than a liberal white woman. We see it over and over and over again. I was checking some of the sites I check every morning, and today on Breitbart, they had this great story, and we can't get the video to play now, but it was at the LA protest, and they had blocked the street. And this black woman is on her way to work, and she gets out of her car, and she goes up to the barricade, and it's a white woman and her white boyfriend, and they look like they just walked out of a rave party, and they start lecturing her on civil rights. She said, I've got 6 kids to feed. I've got to get to work. And she goes, but we're protesting for other people here who have civil rights that are being violated. And she just said, don't talk to me about civil rights. I've got 6 kids to feed. What if I lose my job? Are you going to come and support me? And they said, we don't know about that.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't know.
clutching their pearls, you know. But over and over, we see that.
Well, the reason is because white women are the most protected class in America. Everybody takes care of them. Everybody comes to their aid. So they don't really have any problems. They have to take on the problems of other people to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, and they know what all the problems are, and they know all the solutions, and they're more educated than you. They're smarter than you. They have more common sense than you. So they didn't want to hear what you have to say.
And they'll tell you about it nonstop. Even when you tell them, yes, honey, I know, they're going to keep telling you.
Oh, if you said honey, she'd go ballistic. I just want to, sometimes you watch those videos, I said, I hope that woman slaps the crap out of her.
Yeah, those on the streets, those are always a treat.
So yesterday was a bad day in the world of entertainment and music. We lost 2 greats yesterday. One of my all-time favorites, which we'll get to second, but here's a picture of him. Beach Boy founder Brian Wilson. He was 82, not bad.
Yeah, he made it to 82.
He had dementia and had been in a conservatorship last year.
Now, what was his story? As my entire life, I've known the Beach Boys, but Brian Wilson was always the guy that was hiding. He was, kind of a hermit. Did he have mental issues or what?
He's had mental issues his whole life. And I mean, you could see it when he would come out of the cave every now and then and appear with the Beach Boys. It'd go great for about a week, and he'd have to go back to the cave.
Now, he was the guy that wrote all those hits back in the day. Did he sing those?
Yeah, he was a genius, musical genius. He did things that had never been done before in the studio and developed these techniques that other people went on to use a lot. He just was a musical genius. And it's funny, I was talking about this last night, but oftentimes genius people are crazy. Probably Elon Musk is probably right on the verge of it. Usually
geniuses are only a genius at one thing in life, and they're complete morons in every other aspect of life. Like a dentist or a doctor. They're smart because they know how to do that one thing, but they can't change the oil in their car.
So remember, Brian Wilson had a brother that was also in the Beach Boys, who they say he drowned. Could have been a suicide. We don't know. Dennis Wilson. Years ago, he had a sailboat parked. Is it Malibu? And he'd had the sailboat there for years and years and years. And I don't know if he was living on it or what, but he would drop things overboard under the sailboat. And he had a bad alcohol problem. And he had dropped something under the boat, and he decided he was going to swim down and get it. And I think the water under the sailboat at this dock was like 25, 30 feet. And he went down several times, came up, and then he went down, never came back up, and he drowned.
Is he the one that hung out with Charles Manson?
I don't know. I don't remember anything about that. But Brian had been plagued by drug addiction and mental illness throughout all of his life. He stopped touring with the band. God, I didn't know it was this long ago. He stopped touring with the band in 1964. They're still out on the road today. They appeared here in Charlotte like 2 weeks ago, Beach Boys. I don't know how many.
They're still officially a band, although their last hit was in '88 was Kokomo.
Yeah, Mike Love keeps them going. Mike Love.
Says right here, Dennis Wilson a drummer for the Beach Boys, had a complex relationship with Charles Manson, including a brief period of friendship and a song recording. So Circle does get the square. Johnny gets the point.
Way to go.
One of them was from Charles Manson.
Okay, answer this. What are Brian Wilson's daughters' names?
Brianna?
No.
Okay, then you got me.
Carney and Wendy.
Oh, duh. That's right, from Wilson Phillips.
Yeah. Now, she's the fat one, right?
I'm not going to say that.
Wendy?
She had the Ozempic, didn't she? She did stomach stapling.
I haven't seen her. I don't know. But I can say that because I'm fat.
No, you can't say
that. It's like black people using the N-word. If you're fat, you can call another person fat. You get a free pass.
It's just not a nice thing to say.
It's just the rules.
Here's how I refer to Carney Wilson. She's the high octaves in Wilson Phillips, and everybody knows who I'm talking about. I don't have to talk about her.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. She's just the chubby one. I'll say chubby. She's the chubby one.
I
loved her voice. I wish they had kept on going, but they didn't. And the other person we lost yesterday, also in his 80s, Mr. Sly Stallone, talking about some drug problems.
Was this both yesterday?
Yeah. Now, Sly Stone, he was another musical genius. He did some things with rhythm and R&B, and his songs, just the minute they hit, man, you just were,
Now, he was very funky, but here's my question about these guys. You hear about Live Fast, Die Young. I hear two of the biggest musical geniuses over the last 60 years, and both of them made it into their 80s.
I would say that's pure luck on Sly Stallone's part, because he was a big time, right at the height of his career. He got messed up on drugs, and he still toured, but he couldn't write any more songs. He lost the ability to write. It was sad, really.
He lived in his van for a while, and he was strung out for quite a while too.
Yeah,
so
again, it was sad.
To make it to 82 after living a life like that, I consider that a win.
It's very, very sad. Well, it's back on, it looks like, John. The feud between President Trump and Elon Musk may be coming to an end, and we can thank, of course, Kanye West, who came in and told them to knock it off. It looks like they're heeding the call of Kanye.
So what now are the liberals? What side of this are they on now? Because at first they loved Elon, then they hate him. Are they going to hate him again?
I don't think there's any coming back from liberal hate.
Okay. Because
I don't think they give you
a pass.
I don't think they give passes.
Even when Elon was going against Trump, the liberals seemed to like Elon a little better. They can deal with it a little more because he was pulling away from Trump. But now that he's back,
I don't know. Elon sent a tweet out that said, quote, I regret some of my posts about President Trump last week. They went too far.
What are we supposed to make of that?
Well, I think he's just an impetuous person, and he got angry that he didn't get his way. And he's like, oh, show him. I'm going to tweet some bad stuff. And he did. And then he immediately saw the backlash from it. And, he thought, I better keep him on my side. I've got a lot of government contracts that could disappear on me. So anyway, the feud hopefully is over. Oh, there's the tweet right there. Good work, John.
I regret some of my posts about President Trump last week.
Oh, Trump won't like that.
Yeah,
he won't like that. He should say, I regret. In fact, I pledge to never tweet again until Trump gets out of office. That's what he wants him to say.
What he wants to say.
I'm going to give Twitter to Trump to make sure I don't tweet any bad tweets toward him. He can have it. It's only $43 billion. Yeah, according to the New York Times, the reconciliation began with a phone call between the two of them late Monday night. All right.
Do you think it was a bit? Do you think they were trying to, I don't know, maybe...
I don't think so. Too much danger.
All over here while they're doing something on over here.
It's a lot of danger. All right. And also today, John, speaking of mental problems and crazy, Britney Spears took a quick break from wearing skimpy outfits and dancing on Instagram to rail against her exes.
I saw this. She took that post down. She was talking about her the guy she was married to for about a year and a half, and her exes.
What was that guy? The one her children's by? Kevin
K-Fed.
What was his last name? K-Fed.
Federline.
Yeah, Kevin Federline. And then she married a guy that was kind of her manager, this younger guy, and supposedly he was exploiting her.
Jason Alexander. Is that the one they were married for like a week?
Yeah. So,
yeah, I bet those guys were narcissists and were probably mean to her and probably made her cry. And that means they were wrong because, as you know, guys are mean to girls, and can't be that way.
Brittany said, quote, I dated 2 effing complete a-holes. I realized I loved their dogs more than them. And I think it's because their dogs bowed to me every time I entered the room. Okay.
Let me remind everyone that Britney Spears had a huge career for about 2 years, 25 years ago. What is this woman still doing?
People still love her.
I think people just they love the drama of her, but it's not like anybody's rushing out to hear any new Britney Spears music.
I don't think there has been any new Britney Spears music. I don't think she's capable of getting into the studio and working anymore.
Well, let's just hope not.
Now, John, how many dogs do you have? 3, is that right?
I got 3 dogs. I got 2 rat terriers. They're about the size of cats.
Yeah.
And then I got a 60-pound terrier. He's a good boy.
Now, where did you get these creatures?
1 I got off the side of the road, and 2 I got from the local humane shelter.
I'll bet the one on the side of the road is your best dog, isn't it?
No, she's kind of traumatized from when she, I think, lived. So she's a little weird. She's skittish, but the other 2, living in a pound, you get used to being around a lot of people, a lot of changing situations, and so they don't freak out like she does.
Max the Wonder Dog, who you've seen behind me on the screen, I got him at the pound. Best dog I ever had.
Now, what about Duke? I remember you had a dog named Duke many years ago.
No. Jake. You're talking about Jake.
Wasn't Duke?
No, I never had a Duke. I would never embarrass a dog by naming him Duke.
Do you know that I had a dog back in 2009 that I named Duke after your dog, Duke?
It's not surprising. I had Jake. And
the one you had where we went to your lake house in North Carolina and you had the ashes, that was Duke.
No, that was Jake.
I heard you're wrong.
Jake had a brain tumor and died.
What about Duke? Whatever happened to him?
Never had a Duke.
I can't believe, I'm telling you, I had a dog for 3 years in 2009 and I named him Duke in honor of your dog, Duke.
No Duke. Jake. I would never name an animal Duke.
Well, my next dog, I'm going to name Jake.
Okay, good. Well, anyway, I've got some info for you. It doesn't sound like you have any worries about this, but I have a list today of the top 5 dogs that are likely to have diarrhea.
Okay, this is something I need to know. My dogs are great.
Yeah. Apparently, there are some breeds that are worse than others. Let's see here. Here they are.
It depends on what you feed them, though, doesn't it?
Apparently not. Here we go. Number 5 is the Maltese, the miniature poodle, the Cavapoo, the German Shepherd, and the Yorkshire Terrier.
The Yorkie. Oh, those are terrible little yapping dogs.
Yeah. They're most likely to have explosive diarrhea. And they're all crossbreeds, I think, involving poodles.
See, that's what happens when we play God. You start crossbreeding, they forget about all the digestive situations that may arise.
That's exactly right. Just go to the pound to get your dog. Don't buy it from some breeder.
I disagree. Let me say something. We certainly don't want to encourage breeding, but once these doggies are born, whether they're bred or they're found at the pound, they still need to be loved and adopted.
Well, yeah, but if you didn't buy them from the breeder, maybe they'd stop breeding.
Yeah, but you know these breeders, they'll just keep doing it and let them out on the side of the road.
My daughter has a dog, Penny, and it was rescued from a breeder. And this dog had never been outside. It had never put its feet on ground. This woman had like cages that she would put these dogs in and then breed them. And they had the pups in there. Then they'd take the pups away and wait until she went into heat again, over and over and over and over. And when my daughter got poor Penny, she was so traumatized. So traumatized. She's so happy now. She sees it. She does prayer pause. She gets on her hind legs and does this.
Oh,
and she wants the attention. She's so sweet. Poor Penny.
My dog is like their armpits scratched. They'll just come up and they'll raise their arms and I got to scratch their armpits.
I used to have that dachshund baby. Do you remember her, the fat dachshund I had?
I do.
She's a
I
miniature
named one of my
dachshund.
dogs after her. Lady, remember? My dog Lady.
she was a miniature dachshund, but she had enormous front feet and an enormous chest, and then it just kind of tapered off in the back, right?
Mhm.
And we had her and Booger at the same time, miniature dachshunds. And Baby, as she got older, she got fat. She would steal food. One time when we first bought that lake house, John, I knew a lot of the people in the neighborhood. So I had a barbecue the weekend we got the house to celebrate. And so I bought a bunch of steaks, and I had one of those little Weber grills about this big. I was using it and a bigger grill because there were so many people. And I had some steaks on that little grill, and I turned around and I was talking to somebody. And when I turned back around, Baby had grabbed a sirloin steak about this big.
Oh, it's a bad doggy.
And she had it in her mouth, and she was trying to run away with it, but she kept tripping over it with her front feet.
Oh, that's a bad doggy.
But the point is,
how did Baby get along with Duke?
they never met, so
Okay.
I don't know. But Jake loved her. He loved all the dogs. So, but anyway, Baby got fat because she just wouldn't stop eating.
So that steak.
And she'd get cheese under her arms.
Ooh.
It was a stinky mess. You had to wash it all the time, and she hated for you to wash it. It was terrible.
Don't you give your doggies a bath?
Yeah, we gave them baths, but it was just like it's just a fold of flesh there that.
That fold of flesh is filled with steak.
What was this girl's name, John?
I don't want to say.
Why not? You think she's going to be watching the pod? There's only 133 people watching the podcast because more people haven't subscribed or liked the videos.
But that's growing every day. Watch out, Mr. Beast. No, I don't want to say her name. That's not cool to do that.
Can you just make up a name? See, the professional radio thing to do, podcast thing to do, you just make up a name. You say Karen.
Okay.
Some opposite name of the one you want to say, right?
We'll say her name was Lee.
Okay, Lee. Was she hot? Now Lee can be whatever you want her to be because she's make-believe. Was she hot?
She was all right at the time. She was all right.
I would have taken that opportunity to really embellish her in everyone else's eyes. Oh,
well,
yes.
I mean, I'm giving you a real fake person here, if you get what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. So she was all right.
She was a 6, but she was nice to me. But she had a thing about her that to this day I think about, and occasionally I'll look up. Did you know that 1 out of 10 adults suck their thumb?
I did not.
It says here an adult might suck their thumb due to stress, anxiety, or age regression. The effects of this habit may include blisters or issues with the teeth. Now, she was about 24 at the time,
right?
And we'd be watching TV, and I mean, she'd be going right at it all the way back in there and just watching TV. Her thumb was always wet.
Were you turned on by that?
I was not turned on by it, and her mother. Why not? We're in for a penny, in for a pound. Her mother did this. Mm-hmm. She had these 2 fingers, and she would just stick her fingers in her mouth and just, watch TV.
She would suck on these 2. She did 2 at once.
She did 2 at once, and then
Did that turn you on?
It decidedly turned me off. But I mean,
know it's like the one I told you about the girl that wanted me to suck her toes. It just was a turnoff.
Yeah, but this was nothing of a romantic thing. This was just her way of life, sucking her thumb. And she would sit down and she would have her beer or whatever. And then she would just like put her thumb in her mouth and go to town, watch a show.
Sounds to me like she was totally traumatized as a child.
Probably was. If we ever had a conversation, I might have figured that one out. But I'm not much of a talker when it comes to girls.
So the LA riots calmed down a lot last night. Did you, I don't know if you watched the news or not, but the National Guard, see how it works? If you go out and squash the violence right off the bat, then it stops.
Yeah, you're making Governor Gavin Newsom cry. Do you see all these videos of him crying?
Oh, yeah. He's going to sue, and it's terrible, and the mayor says it's terrible, but it worked. That's what I would say. If I were Trump, I'd just say, yeah, I get all that, but it worked.
I got a guy, a friend of mine on I'm sure you have a few, and he's on every liberal talking point out there, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's, Gaza or Palestine. And even he doesn't know what to make of this riot. He doesn't know which side that he's really on. So he's just resorted to posting a bunch of anti-Trump memes. But really, how can you blame this on Trump? And there's like so many angles of this. Nobody really knows who to blame.
Your friend's a sheeple. That's his problem.
Absolutely. And you know that he and I don't talk much anymore because,
I can't deal with them. I cannot. They're so loony bins. I can't even talk to them.
They really are.
I just get frustrated. They believe everything that people like Nancy Pelosi says. Did you see her yesterday? She did a big press conference yesterday and said, the protesters are mostly peaceful. You have a small, and she really emphasized, small group of agitators who take advantage of a peaceful protest and come in and create all those problems. And I thought, yeah, and that's why you got to have more cops and maybe the National Guard there. So when they do, you're right there, Johnny, on the spot and take them down.
Exactly. I like how they just minimize it. It's just only a few people, but let's look at January 6th. How many people actually committed acts of vandalism and this, that, and the other? A small amount.
Right.
You didn't see Nancy Pelosi going, well, it's just a small amount of insurrectionists. It's a little bit different, though, when it's on your side.
I love The Onion. They had a great cartoon yesterday, and it was the CNN set, right? And it wasn't a cartoon, but they had made it up. But it was the CNN set, said CNN, breaking news or whatever, and there's a reporter there. And in the background are all these ships on fire and burning, and it says, breaking news, Japanese flyover, mostly peaceful. A few bombs were dropped, but mostly peaceful flyover and attack from the Japanese.
That's exactly right.
By the way, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, just hit the subscribe button. Like it and hit the subscribe button.
I think yesterday's video almost has 90 views.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
Watch out, Mr. Beast. Here we come.
It's crazy. This right here is going to put us over the top, but I need everybody's input, and the comments are on. I want your input because I disagree with this list. It's a list of the top. We're only going to do the top 5, but it was the top 5 French fries in America. Now, John, what place makes your favorite French fries?
Well, actually, before the economy took such a dump, I used to have my own list. Best fries, you would say? I'd probably go with Wendy's fries.
Wendy's fries. I'm not a big fan of Wendy's fries. I don't have anything against them, but what
the hell do you got against Wendy's fries? Come on, explain yourself, man.
And they're too big.
That's why I like them. I like that kind of big, thick. I don't like the tinny, scrinny, little crunchy ones.
I like the crunchy ones. And I don't like places that serve crinkle cut, and I don't like Wendy's fries because they're doughy in the middle.
Do you like the Chick-fil-A waffle fries?
I love the Chick-fil-A waffle fries, but it has to be cooked well. Sometimes if they're really busy, somebody will lift the basket before the alarm goes off.
Yeah,
just to
you're
get
right
those
about
fries
that.
out. You can't be doing that. You got to send them out at the right temperature. They have to fry 375 for a certain amount of time. Well, here's the list. Coming in at number 5, Chick-fil-A's waffle fries. And I don't know if I'm comfortable with putting a waffle fry in with regular French fries.
I do, because the shape of those really help its dipability in the little trays of ketchup they give you. Because
excellent dipability, by the way.
Good
I'm with you on that. Yeah. And I love, except they're hard to open. I love the little ketchup packs they give you. You know, you can squirt it or you can open it and dip. Either one.
But you got to be able to get that thing off. And usually I have to get somebody behind the counter to do it for me.
Yeah. It's like breaking into jail, getting into that ketchup.
We sound like a couple of old buzzards. They make the print too fine and you can't even open up the tarnation package.
It's true. And I think everybody would believe us that number one complaint about Chick-fil-A, too hard to open your damn ketchup.
And by the time you do, your food's cold, even though they have excellent dipability.
Dipability is very important. It really is. All right, number 4, Bojangles. I hate their fries.
Love them. Do you know that I discovered Bojangles when you and I worked briefly together
in Greensboro? Yeah.
And I found myself stopping off at Bojangles and fell in love with them. Loved the shake you can put all over the fries.
That's why I don't like it, because they pre-season the fries for you with that spicy crap I don't like.
Yeah, that's what I do like. So
now I do love their chicken. I'm a big fan of the Bojangles chicken.
Do you ever put the spicy stuff on the chicken?
No, I don't. Spicy enough without it. But that's all I like from there. The biscuits are okay, but I'm not into that dirty rice or any of that stuff.
Nah.
All right, number 3 on the list, Freddy's frozen custard and steak burgers.
Never heard of them. They must not have them in the South. I know they don't have them in the South.
You know, I hadn't either. I did the narration for Freddy's obituary video that they did at his funeral. I'd never heard of it. It's growing all across the country, but I've never been to a Freddy's.
Look at you.
Thank you. Number 2, Shake Shack. Haven't visited one of those yet either.
I haven't been to Shake Shack.
I hear good things about it. And number 1, In-N-Out Burger.
I have had those. Let me tell you about those. They don't use like polysorbated vegetable oil. They'll use regular oil, and that means you have to eat them within a few minutes or they'll just turn to mush. They don't have some special coating on them.
So they use beef tallow?
That may be what it is. And
well, that's what JFK is trying to get everybody to switch to.
RFK.
Have you ever seen yeah, RFK, JFK. If he's asking,
we got
to switch.
Sly, Stallone, and JFK made an appearance on today's podcast.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Do you know how that happened? That everybody quit using beef tallow?
Tell me.
So there was a guy, and I do not know his name off the top of my head, but this guy, he had a manufacturing facility. You know, when you do drywall and you come to a corner, like, you know, a 90-degree corner, and so they put a piece of metal on that corner, screw it in, and then you drywall over it, right, to protect the corner. Well, he invented that and had a factory that made the metal strips and, you know, sold them all over the world. Got very, very rich doing. Well, he ate at McDonald's all the time, ate their French fries and everything, and he had a massive heart attack. And, you know, thank goodness he recovered from it, but he decided that it was McDonald's fault that he had a heart attack. And so he filed this big lawsuit against McDonald's to try to get them to quit using beef tallow and switch to a healthier oil, which he thought was vegetable oil. We know now that's not necessarily true, but that's what made McDonald's change. They decided to turn it into a marketing statement that, hey, you know, we're going to make your fries safer and more healthy. Of course, it didn't.
Wow, it's amazing how one person can make such a difference. It was just one old lady who caused them to lower the temperature of their coffee. It was just one guy who did the movie Morgan Spurlock had them do away with supersizing. Just one person can make a difference.
Did you know that I am a graduate of Hamburger U, John?
Did not know that.
Yeah. When I was a young whippersnapper, I had to move to Atlanta, and my parents had moved, so I had nowhere to go. So I had to move to Atlanta, and I stayed with my sister for a little bit. I had to find a job very quickly. And we had owned a restaurant when I was a kid. So the first job I saw was McDonald's manager training. And it said pays blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, that's a lot more than I'm making now. I'll do that for a while till I find something better. And I went to their school. And
what do they teach you? Do you actually sit down and do homework and all that?
Yeah. It was very intensive course. It was it's like 4 or 5 days. And you learned how to take a shake machine apart and put it back together, how it was supposed to be cleaned. And you learned about yields, food cost, employee cost. You learn about cleanliness and, of course, how to prepare all the food, blah, 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 how to order the food for your restaurant. It was hard. It was hard
work. Did you ever make it to manager of a McDonald's?
No, I quit because I had an a-hole for a supervisor. And he was always yelling and screaming, and I couldn't stand it. So one day during a really busy lunch rush, he started yelling at me, and I went, see you later. And I just walked out.
Do you know that if you would have stayed with that career, you could have been the night manager at a McDonald's and taken home some free hamburger samples to Duke?
We took free hamburger samples home all the time. Because they have a thing at McDonald's. If a hamburger's been out on the rack for more than 10 minutes, you're supposed to throw it away. And there's a special can just for that. It's called the waste bin. And you're not allowed to give that to homeless people or anything. It has to go in the garbage, which I always thought was a waste.
I worked at Dairy Queen when I was a teenager, and I used to make hamburger tacos. I would take the regular hamburger patty, fill it with onions and ketchup, fold it like a taco, and poke it into my head during my shifts.
That sounds really good.
I was a rotund teenager, too.
What I was going to ask you, have you ever seen the Ray Kroc movie?
The one with Michael
Keaton. Yeah.
I have not seen it yet. It's on my watch list.
Excellent view. You should check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for spending a few minutes with us today on the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember, subscribe, like the video, and tell some friends.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops, and tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.